Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Mira. I'm a certified breatharian healer, energy medicine practitioner, and transformation guide. I'm also an entrepreneur. And in my previous video, I talked about bringing money out of shadow and how oftentimes we push it away because we've just put it in shadow, and so you continue to do that, and then it's not flowing in your life. So in this video, I'm going to talk about actually doing that and the practice of it. Just a mini version of what, say, you would do in an energy medicine session, healing session. But this is just something that you can do. I did it last night, and so I've been playing with it. And of course, if it's something that is extremely blocked, then you'd want to go deeper and perhaps get a session, or if it's something that just won't move, go deeper into it. But what I did was I just started tuning into the energy of $100,000, and I just chose this amount to start working with. And it's just like if you were thinking about a family member and thinking, about connecting with them. A lot of times just that intention or thought and awareness itself, you'll be able to just tune into what they're feeling and really tune in to where they're at. And so it's as simple as that. And if you're an empath or sensitive, we do this on default, and we do it when we don't know we're doing it. It just happens. So it would be a very basic exercise. So when I started doing that, I could really feel the merging with the energy of money, and specifically the energy of $100,000. And when I was doing that, I could sense the difference in just my energy and then the energy of this money, and then I was playing with it. It was almost like a dance. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I got hit in the solar plexus area. I felt like there was this big rock there, and it was solid and painful. I would label it as pain. So I sat with that for a minute, and then I decided to just let all of my awareness kind of go into that area, that sensation, that uncomfortable sensation. And a lot of times, if we just let all of our awareness go into a place that feels stuck, that's enough. And then other times, if it's not moving, then we'll have to do more work. But so I let all my awareness go in there with just the intention, and I was just seated in the middle of this sensation, in the middle of my rib cage, in the solar plexus area. And I was just observing it. Just like you would. You go into someone's house and they're showing you around, and you're just observing. You're looking around. You're taking it all in. And so I was doing that, and I was watching this and feeling this sensation and just noticing it. And it felt to me like a power struggle. If you're in an argument with someone and you feel that pain in your solar plexus area, and you can oftentimes feel like it's a pulling, like that the energy of the argument is pulling at you, like a hook pulling. It felt a little like that. It just felt like a very uncomfortable, solid, stuck energy there, and this power struggle energy, exactly like what I felt when I've been in arguments with someone, and it was getting more escalated and heated, and I couldn't make it stop, and I wanted to, and it was getting more painful. So I just sat with that, and I just watched it playing out, and it felt like a power struggle. So I started kind of just looking at that, like, what is this power struggle? Is this a power struggle? And I could feel this exchange of energy between what I was feeling and money, and then my higher self, and then my smaller self, my agenda. And it was really interesting to watch it. And just by being seated within it with no any compassion, or having compassion, but no needing to do anything with it, it seemed to be just kind of dancing and moving itself. So it went through this process of like this tug of war. And, you know, my mind wanted to make sense of it, but it couldn't really. There were times that it felt like my own higher self was struggling with my smaller self, with my fear. There was a lot of fear around it. There was a lot of right and wrong. And as it was unraveling, this trauma around money, or my story with money, was unraveling. It was coming up and out. And at times it was more uncomfortable. At times it felt like release and relief. And it was just a really interesting process watching it play out. And then it eased completely in that area. And then my awareness went back into merging with this energy of $100,000. And I would just kind of go back and forth with this, you know, watching the different things that were coming out. So some of the things that were coming up were how I would usually have some sort of agenda when I was interacting with money. And as we all know, in any of our relationships, when we have an agenda, then usually resistance comes up around that. And what was interesting was that I had the agenda inside me, and I had the resistance too. So it was really this war within myself. And the energy of money is just being itself. It's just the energy of money. It's pretty neutral. But where the conflict was inside me. So it was humbling. It was enlightening. So I could see the stories that I have around how much money is okay to make, and all of the restrictions that have to go with that in order for you to make that amount. And then how I had certain levels of money, like even saying $100,000 brought up this unworthiness, because had I put in enough hard work, had I hurt myself enough, had I struggled enough to be able to ask for this amount, or you know, the greed around it came up. So that story came up. I could also see how I had this control that would come in, that would want to make something happen instead of surrendering. So there was this struggle within this area, which is our power, which is our will. I had the struggle in surrendering to something bigger, surrendering to Great Spirit, surrendering to God and the flow of that coming through. So I got to also see that struggle where we feel like we have to make everything happen and it has to go exactly like this. When a lot of times, if we just surrender to that bigger flow that wants to come through us, then it can come faster. So I could see how I was putting up the resistance to that larger amount of money coming to me, because I wasn't willing to surrender to possibly a bigger way of that happening. So, you know, there were control pieces coming up around it. And so it was fascinating being able to see all of these stories. And I'm sharing this because I'm guessing that some of you might have similar stories, or this might, you know, spark something in your relationship with money. And I'm going to actually go into like a guided way of doing this in this video. But so I'm just sharing some of the examples that came up for me that I had no idea were stuck in that area. And I had no idea that I was the one on both sides of the struggle and the war and the conflict. You know, it was kind of funny. Like, I'm over here just like battling it out, and money is just hanging out, just being money, the energy of money. It's like I'm struggling with something, and I look over and I'm being observed by my cat, and he's just chilling. He's happy. He's not bothered by anything, and I'm just struggling with trying to make something happen. And it's a familiar sort of scenario, and it made me laugh to just see how neutral the energy of money really is. And so when we can really get that and see that in, like I say, lifetime, then it's kind of funny how hard we make it when it doesn't have to be. But with that said, many of us do have traumas that are locked into our bodies that are playing out the story, and we didn't put them there on purpose. Oftentimes we don't know they're there, and so it's not our fault either. So the good news is that we do have tools that we can work with to release that trauma, and then we can start coming from a very conscious thinking level of creating. And I'm also going to do a video with more to say about that, but this one I just wanted to kind of talk about the how-tos of just basically going in and working with the energy. And so let's just take a moment to walk through this, and I'll just kind of guide us through so that everyone can see where their own energy is, and just see what it feels like for you. So just get in a comfortable position. You don't want to be in a position where you'll fall asleep, but I like to have my feet on the ground and like sitting as straight as possible. If you want to lay down, you can do that as well. But so you can do this with your eyes closed or eyes open, and just really know that intentions, it's the same as imagining or pretending, but it's very powerful. And when we do more of the deeper work with working with energy, I usually like to open sacred space and call in helpful allies or your guardian, guides, and angels. And you can do this many ways. If you only have a few minutes, you can just simply ask for your guardian, guides, and compassionate allies to come in and help you with this for the purpose of healing. There are more elaborate ways to do it on the shamanic path. I have a way that I will share with you, a beautiful way to call allies in. And then you can do it with just simple prayers. I have one that's very powerful for really cleansing a lot of maybe negative things and bringing in powerful allies. So I'm not going to share all of that in this video, but that will be a whole separate video itself. So for now, you can just kind of silently call in your compassionate allies, guardian, guides, and angels to help you. I always like to do this because when you're working with energy, it's just always nice to have, a protective space. And for empaths and sensitives, I'm going to be doing more work with protection, how you can transmute and do very simple exercises to transmute energy. You can just ask for a protective bubble of light to be put around you, very simply. And so what we're going to do is, for yourself, just choose an amount of money that you want to work with. You're welcome to choose 100,000. This can be a number that you want to bring in, draw in, or this can be something that you can start small if you want. It's completely up to you. So just kind of get that number in your mind. Take a few deep breaths. Take some breaths into the heart, chest area. And then take some breaths into the belly, the lower abdomen area. And then let's just start with letting the awareness go to the base of the spine, which is the root chakra. And we're just going to have the intention to ground in to this root chakra area and just let all of your awareness go there. Okay, and now we're just going to have the intention, or we're going to pretend or imagine that we're connecting with the energy of money, specifically the amount that you've chosen to connect with. And just as simply as connecting with a relative. So you're thinking about it. If visuals come up, that's great, but this isn't a visual exercise. So, you just want to allow what happens to happen naturally. So if visuals of this amount of money come up, great, allow that to happen, but just really have the intention to connect with this at, in an open-hearted way. So we're connecting with this amount and feel into it. See what it's like. And have the intention to taste it, just kind of reach out and taste it, touch it, smell it, hear it, however that looks. See it. Get all of your senses involved. Expand your perception with this exercise. But don't try to make anything happen. Just intend and then observe. And so now we're going to intend to really merge with it, to really have an energy exchange with it, to kind of go inside of it and see what it feels like. As you would pretending to go inside the trunk of a tree and seeing what that feels like, imagining. I wonder what it feels like to be that blue heron. Wonder what it feels like to be that eagle or that caterpillar, So not to distract you, but how does it feel like to go inside this amount of money? And merge with it. And then notice as you're doing this, what sensations are you feeling in your physical body? So you want to pay close attention to what your body's telling you when you're connecting with it. This is a good indicator of where energy may be stuck, or where you might have trauma, where you might have struggle around money. And your body will tell you, your emotions will tell you. And so just be with your body, and usually where the work is needed is where you'll be drawn. And if you feel someplace that feels tension or sensation, then let your awareness go into that completely and just sit inside of it, notice and observe it. Sometimes I like to see if it has a texture or a color, a temperature, to just get to know it a little more. And if it doesn't feel like it's moving, that's fine. Just stay seated inside of it and observe it and see what comes up. What does it feel like? Does it feel similar to another situation you've had, where your body has had this same sensation? And if so, what was happening in that situation? Who was involved? What was the scenario? What emotional triggers maybe came up for you during that time? And then just look at similarities and feel it and observe it. You don't have to analyze it too much, just kind of be inquisitive and curious about it. And if there's more than one place in the body asking for your attention, then just spend time on one and then go to the other. And a lot of times you'll get a sense of when something is complete, and then it's time to move on to another. And so stay with this for as long as you need, and then you can come back and merge more with the money, watch the dance play out, listen to your body, and you can just kind of do this back and forth and allow it to guide you. And then you'll come to a place that you'll feel like it's complete. And a lot of times indicators of that will be that your body will settle, your mind will quiet, you'll feel, more peace come in. And when you start noticing that, then you can bring it to an end. You can thank your compassionate allies, your guardian guides and angels, and you can close your little energy session. So this is just a very basic, it's more of a meditation and observing, but also, you are allowing the energy to move and go in and out, and you're consciously working with your intention and energy, and with the intention of healing, any blocks that you have with the energy of money. And this isn't an area that a lot of us are accustomed to working in, and it really goes beyond the mind when we're working at the energy level. And so things can not make sense, and that's perfectly fine. Go with it. Just be curious. And I know that I may have distracted you a little bit talking about the animals and, going into them. I just want you to kind of get a sense that you can do this very innocently with anything, because everything's energy. And then you can go back, into consciously doing something. Now, you're not going to want to merge to the point that you're taking over. This is just a curiosity and an innocent dancing with the energy. So when you're intending to merge with something, it's really just connecting. It's really just connecting and tasting it and getting a sense of it like you would a person that you're in the same room with. You have the intention, I really want to connect with this person. And then a lot of times that'll start happening, and you can feel, wow, they have a beautiful vibration. They have a beautiful energy. So that's really what we're doing. This isn't anything like shape-shifting or possessing anything. We're not working on that level. That's not our intention. Our intention is just very, very innocently, you think about something, you want to connect with it, you want to share an exchange, a loving exchange with it, and it's a beautiful giving, receiving. So it's nothing to fear at all. And the more that you play with this, the cleaner the relationships can be. We're not doing any sort of taking from anything or anyone in this exercise. You're not taking from money, the energy of money. We're really just doing this with a very innocent curiosity. So I would invite you to keep doing this in different ways. You can work with different amounts. You can just work with just the general energy. I find that the more specific it is, the more powerful it is. And you can work with, we can actually go deeper into this and get bigger with it. But for now, just keep playing with this exercise because it's different every time you do it. And it can open up in ways that it hasn't before. So again, intention and innocence and curiosity are the key to this exercise, and then just to keep revisiting it. So if you're new here, click subscribe, and I definitely want to hear your experiences with this, and if you're having any sort of struggles with it, or you feel like, oh, I just not understanding, I don't know how to get past this, anything like that, or just your celebrations around it. You released energy, that's awesome, and now energy's flowing, money's flowing to you. So I'd love to hear all these stories. I'd love to just, yeah, let's we're doing this together. So I got a lot more videos coming, and we'll go deeper into it and look at different aspects of it. But I'm really glad you're here, and thank you for joining me and watching.